Hello, folks. This is John. I've made a handful of Japanese orders lately, and they've been piling up. So I thought it might be a bit entertaining for you, dear viewers, to see what kind of stuff I've been adding to my collection lately. Most of these orders came from Suruga-ya. One of them is from Mandarake. I don't remember exactly what's in these orders or know what's in specific ones. So let's just have a little bit of an evening show and tell adventure, shall we? Uh, let's see. I'm sure that there are collectors out there that concentrate on relatively common stuff and domestic releases, and I think that's perfectly fine. I think you should collect what you enjoy and what you like. However, I think if you are watching this video, you're probably at least curious about seeing some slightly more unusual or slightly more obscure items, which is nowadays what I tend to most enjoy collecting. So, I hope you'll find some fascination in the kind of unusual stuff that I've got here. Now, I may not open up a whole bunch of this particular order because this is a bunch of posters and wall scrolls, which makes it a little bit more difficult to display on our very low-tech. Yeah, alright. This one is possibly easy to display. This, if I can get this open, is a Girls and Panzer. Alright. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. It's a Girls and Panzer desk mat. So it's heavy foam fabric. This is, you might say it's almost like a mouse pad, but I imagine this is probably designed for tabletop card gaming. But it was, normally these things are kind of expensive, but I know this one was really cheap for whatever reason, and so that's why I bought this. Let's see, this particular, I think this was, I've been picking up a couple wall scrolls, or in Japan they refer to them as tapestries. So I've been picking up a few of these, thinking that I might swap out some of the ones that I've got on display right now. So let's see, which one was this one? Alright. This, I want to say, was probably about $5. I don't know, or I don't remember who the artist was, but it was really cheap and it was pretty attractive looking. Let's see, this looks like a folder. I think this was if I recall correctly, this was a Toranoana giveaway. I'm not sure, because I don't remember from when I placed this order. I don't remember if this is a vinyl book cover or if it's a vinyl notepad, but it is a vinyl something or other. So, just the kind of stuff that I buy for my collection. This was the primary reason I placed this particular order. This is, I do not off the top of my head, because I'm kind of winging this one, if you'll forgive me. I don't remember the artist behind this, but those of you that know, well, alright, forgive me. I was going to say those of you that really know manga and anime well, but I don't want to be insulting. So I'll just say that some of you may recognize that this is a risky safety doujinshi. I really love collecting merchandise, and including fan merchandise, from shows that have a personal meaning, or in this case, a personal connection to me. I really love collecting merchandise from the anime titles that I did work on, that I helped bring officially to America. Risky Safety was one of those. So when I saw that this Risky Safety doujinshi was available, I made the order and threw a bunch of this stuff in with the order. This little doujin, this fan-created doujin pouch, it's a cloth pouch. There's a little cat girl with guns on the front of it. This is a little bit smaller than I anticipated it being, but it was pretty cheap, and it's fairly cute. I don't know what the backstory is on it, but I was, again, just throwing stuff on an order, so I threw that on the order. And this is a binder folder, not 3-ring. This looks like it's a clipboard style doujin binder. I think this was advertised as a binder for clear files. I thought to myself, oh, that's kind of interesting. I don't think I have a binder for clear files. I don't know. It doesn't look like this has pages in it, so I'm not sure how exactly it holds clear files, unless it just clamps right directly onto them. But again, this was only like $5, so I decided, well, why not? I'll pick this up. So that's the end of that order. On to the next. This is also Suruga-ya order. I'm not sure why this one did not get put in the printed Suruga boxes, but regardless. Not much in this order. There's really only 2 items. All right. I was a bit surprised when this became available, because I thought I had one of these. But when it became available, I realized I did not own a copy of the 1990 Dirty Pair calendar. Now, actually, I believe this was actually not a separate release. I believe this was actually contained in the Flight 005 Conspiracy Laserdisc box. So, yeah, you can see the Laserdisc insignias down there. So I guess probably, if I really wanted this, I probably ought to have just bought the Laserdisc set. But I do still collect vintage Dirty Pair items, and I did not have one of these, so I picked that up. Also in this order, I picked up a attractive Akazukin Cha-Cha production cell. This was fairly expensive. This production cell was, I think, $74. However, I really decided I wanted this because it has all 3 major characters in it. It has Cha-Cha, Sheena, and Rhea. So you might argue that this, if you're going to get one Akazukin Cha-Cha production cell, one like this is the one to have, because it has all 3 characters on it, and it's all you need. So that's why I decided that I would just pick up this one. Now, I will be curious to see if the cell is stuck to the Genga drawing or not. I don't know. I also noticed that there's a 300 yen price sticker on it. I have no idea how many decades old that sticker is, but fascinating to know that at some point this was only $3. Now, I'll be a little gentle with how I handle that. And then this poster, I do not remember what this poster is, so let's find out, shall we? If I can get this open without causing too much damage. Let's see if I can get the tape off so that it doesn't stick. Alright, so this, okay. I might actually have one of these already in my collection. I don't remember for certain, however. So this was really inexpensive. It's a wall poster advertising the TV broadcast of the original Digicare television show. Because I wasn't sure whether or not I already had one of these, for the very low price, I just decided I'd buy it. You know, so either this is my one and only, or it's a dupe. Either way, I'm happy. Moving on to another order. Let's see. If you've watched any of my other recent in air quotes, recent videos, you may be aware of why I've been buying from Suruga. But in case you are unaware, Suruga, oh, that's interesting. Suruga lately has been running a near constant, basically free international express shipping campaign. So that's why I've been taking advantage of the low-cost international shipping recently and making orders. So so what have we got here? That's an interesting. Stuff up here. Let's see. How do I get into this? Okay. All right. That is interesting. This is a set of Moetan doujinshi items. There is a fairly thick Moetan doujinshi here. There is a pencil board, and this appears to actually be a miniature, shrunk down version of the Moetan dictionary, which I did not expect to be in there. So I have the regular retail release, which is, like A5 book size, regular, a little bit bigger than Japanese tankobon size. So, but I am still a fan of Moetan, and this was available very inexpensively. I am also a fan of Pop, the artist. I'm not sure exactly what this doujinshi is, but it's I believe this is a parody of Dengeki Moyo magazine, but this is fairly inexpensive, so I just figured I'd just blind buy it, see what it is. The back is plain. I don't know, really, how many of you remember the Gate anime television series from the the 20 teens, I want to say. But I remember enjoying that show quite a bit. And I saw that a anime MOOC from that TV show had come in stock at Suruga fairly inexpensively. So I thought to myself, I don't have any books from this show. I'll pick this up. I already do have a couple copies of the Ghibli Museum program book for the May and the Kitten Bus movie. However, when I find these available very inexpensively, in this case like $5 or so, I pick them up because everybody loves My Neighbor Totoro, but very few people are aware that it does have a short sequel. And because the sequel, May to Koneko Bus, is so exclusive, one of the only ways to quote unquote see it is through publications like this. So I picked this up in case I ever have opportunities to pass this along or sell it at a comic show or anime convention locally or some such. I am not absolutely certain what this is. I know the front and back covers are the anime version of Hyper Police. I believe this is a Keiji Goto Design Works doujinshi. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's possibly what this is. Actually, forgive me for flipping through it backwards, but actually, if I can hold it up here. But given where the camera is and where I am, I have to flip through it backwards. Yeah. I am a fan of the Hyper Police manga series by Mii-kun. I do like the anime TV series. I saw that this was available inexpensively and decided I would blind buy it. From Suruga, another copy of the Japanese edition of the first Japanese publication, Todd McFarlane's Spawn, came into stock. I pick these up whenever I can get them because if you're buying them from Japan, they're very affordable. And here in America, they're fairly collectible. So as I mentioned, anytime I'm able to pick these up inexpensively, I do. I believe this is a Toru no Ana publicity shikijiki. I picked up this. I think this is also a Toru no Ana publicity shikijiki. Now that I look at it, this might actually be my second one of these. I'm not sure. I may have accidentally bought more than one of these on multiple orders. But I thought it was cute and it's fairly inexpensive. This is one of these situations where you don't quite know what you're getting. This was described as a clear poster, so it was inexpensive. I liked the design, so I picked it up. This isn't, in my perspective, what I would define as a poster, but since it's here, I'm not going to complain too much. I'm not sure that I know anything about this particular doujinshi. It is, as the title mentions, X-Men vs. Street Fighter doujinshi. America no Otomodachi, American Friends. I like the cover art, I like the concept, so I've been trying to get a hold of a copy of this to see exactly what it is. For a while, a copy finally came into stock at Suruga affordably, so I picked this up, again, as a blind buy. This particular wall scroll, let's see what this one was, or I should say, what this one is. And the tape is stuck to it. Let's see. Alright. Cute female kunoichi showing off a little bit of her butt. This was well under $10. It was, I don't know, $5 or $6. Maybe I will hang this up, maybe not, I don't know. But I figured that at that price, I'll just pick it up and then decide what to do with it later. This is the order, I believe, that has figures in it. Not too long ago, Suruga had a sale discount of 20% off figures. So I took advantage and ordered a few. Yes. Okay. Oh, wow. All right. One of these figures I knew was sizable, but now that I actually see it in person, it's bigger than I expected, or at least to some degree bigger than I expected. Okay. Peel stuff off. Right on top here is the pop-up parade figure of Gold Ship from Pretty Derby Uma Musume. Gold Ship is a supporting character in Uma Musume. However, she's possibly my favorite character in Uma Musume. I really wanted a figure of her. There is a jointed one. I don't remember if it's a Revoltech or... I don't remember what series it's from, but I didn't quite like the likeness of that ball jointed figure. I think the design on this one is a little bit closer to what she looks like in the anime. So I'm happy to pick this up. I'm not formally collecting Nanachi figures because there are one or two of them that are pretty expensive. However, the relatively cheaper Nanachi figures I am buying up. Now, I'm just trying to get one of each of them, but this was one of the relatively cheaper Made in Abyss Nanachi figures that I did not have. So, yeah, picked up this one quite affordably. It will probably be difficult to see this Battle Girl Mill Alpha figure. I will show you the sides of the box. The sides of the box have the brown-haired variation. The figure in this box is the blonde-haired variation. This is a bikini girl carrying a M5. What's particularly neat about this figure is that her vest is removable, so she can actually be posed topless. But she's also a fairly sizable figure. So because it was 20% off and it was already a discounted price because it was either a used or a second-hand figure, I decided that I wanted to pick this up. Alright. These are Pascom Paradise Omake figures. They're still in the box. Actually, it will be... Actually, I probably can't... I don't even think this will show up on camera, so just... Pascal Paradise released a bonus figure of a schoolgirl. They released it in two versions. It's a schoolgirl exposing herself while she's in her Sailor Fuku. There's a red version and a blue version. The figure came in a top half initially, which you could display just as a bust. Or you could also get the bottom half and remove the pedestal and attach her skirt and her legs. Now, I have the blue version top. This is the red version top and bottom. One of my close friends locally mentioned that he was enjoying the Sakamoto Days anime television series because the character Sakamoto reminded him of himself. This particular friend is a professional security guard. He's a little bit portly, mostly balding. This Sakamoto Days keychain figure of Sakamoto sitting on top of a cup ramen keychain was available very, very cheaply, so I figured I would pick this up as a gift for that particular friend. Speaking of Sakamoto Days, I picked up this. What is this? This is the... What year is this? Can I tell? This is the, I believe, yeah, this is published in 2019. This is the winter 2020 issue of Jump Giga. This contains the first appearance of Sakamoto Days. The one-shot story in here is just simply called Sakamoto. I also picked up this particular copy of Champion Red Ichigo magazine. Was very cheap. It was only like $5 or $6, something like that. I picked this one up because the omake, the bonus premium that's included with it, is an actual, some sort of little zipper pouch that looks like a pair of school bloomers. So I thought that alone, little coin purse pouch that looks like bloomers, is worth the $4 or $5 total cost alone. All right. Let's see. Switching gears, this particular package, this envelope, came from an eBay seller, Japanese eBay seller. There was, I don't recall because again, I'm doing this off the cuff. I do not recall the seller's name, but there is a Japanese seller on eBay that offers up primarily illustrated movie tickets, illustrated movie stubs from Japanese theatrical releases. I noticed that he had the illustrated movie stub from the 1987 Dirty Pair feature film. I thought, well, I've never seen one of those before. That's a pretty neat, pretty interesting collectible. If I can get to it. And this, as circumstances would have it, this particular eBay seller offers a discount on multiple purchases, on the purchase of multiple items, and he sent me a private message discount on just the Dirty Pair movie ticket, but I realized that buying multiple items actually resulted in an even bigger discount. So I instead ended up just ordering 2 items from this particular eBay seller. These are the get to them here. Okay. Wow. All right, let's see here. Okay. The first one is the illustrated movie stub for the double feature of the Dirty Pair motion picture and the Batsu and Terry motion picture. Now, I've seen the Dirty Pair movie several times. I've seen the Batsu and Terry movie once. But considering that this is a movie ticket from 1987, I imagine most of these would probably have been discarded. So I imagine they're probably fairly rare. This is a fairly unique item. In 2007, was it 2000? Yeah, it was probably 2007. I was in Tokyo when the first Evangelion Rebuild movie was screening. My friend who I was visiting over there and I went to a theater and saw this movie. However, the theater that we went to was a small theater, and I don't recall even. I don't even recall if I actually got a printed paper ticket stub or not. But it definitely did not have the illustrated ticket stubs. Now, this ticket stub is not terribly visually dynamic, but considering I did see this first Evangelion 1.0 in a theater in Japan, I thought it would be neat to have the commemorative movie ticket. Now, moving on, and we're getting towards the end now, so I know that there are probably fewer items in two of these three remaining orders. Oops, okay, that makes things a little bit easier. Back a number. All right, I'll discuss that in a moment. Back a number of years ago, back in the late 80s and the early 1990s, the 2-volume Macross movie film comics were very, very common in America. You could, figuratively speaking, you could almost stumble over these because they seemed like they were everywhere. However, in the past 10, 15 years or so, they have become very, very scarce. Now, I have my own original set from back in the day. However, a number of years ago, a friend from my old anime club parted with his collection. A lot of that material came into my possession, which included a volume 1 of the 2-volume film comics. So for probably 10 years or more now, I've been trying to acquire a second copy of Volume 2 so that I have 2 sets. Suhowever, either I just cannot ever find a Volume 2, or when I do find one, they're a bit more expensive than I wanted to pay. However, Suruga finally got in a Volume 2 at this one was, I think, $23, which is cheaper than, I think 40 is the lowest I've seen one otherwise. 40 is more than I'm willing to pay for a duplicate copy. 23 I was willing to pay. However, I'll have to compare it. I think the spine might be a little sun fading. The color on the spine doesn't look as vivid as I remember it being, or as I remember it's supposed to be. So that might be a little disappointing if that is the case. Actually, I'm almost certain that's the case. There is a little bit of whiteness along the spine here, which is typical. Yeah, it's on the back too. Yeah, it's probably sun damage. Probably sun faded a little bit. But then again, this is a second set now that I have. I mentioned that I bought a Champion Ichigo magazine to get the bonus item. I actually have a copy of this magazine from the month it was released back in 2008. However, Suruga for like $4 or $5 got in another copy. Now this particular copy has a spine roll. The spine is angled, but I don't really mind it because it wasn't the magazine that I was buying this for. I was buying this to get the Tsukumizu holder. This is actually a cloth cell phone holder but it's a cloth cell phone holder that is a cloth school swimsuit. Now, I have one in perfect condition because I bought it in 2008, but yeah, I just thought this was just neat, and it was so cheap I wanted to pick up another one. In this order, alright, struggling to open. Okay. This one slightly more substantial in terms of the material. I mentioned that I do still very actively collect vintage Dirty Pair merchandise. I'm not a big fan of collecting phone cards partially because they're fairly expensive. However, this particular Dirty Pair telephone card came up at an affordable price. I don't have very many Dirty Pair phone cards. I think this is probably the third one that I own, but I did not have this one previously, so I picked that up. This is just a 64 gig thumb drive. It was $5. I just figured, I'm sure I can use it. Let's see. This is the Shonen Jump Next from 2010 summer. If I recall correctly, this particular magazine includes the very first appearance of Saiki Kuso, Dangerous Life of Saiki K. It was originally published as a series of one-shots. This magazine contains the very first one-shot. This was fairly inexpensive. I know that Saiki K got a live-action movie. It got 2 anime TV series. It's still not hugely popular, but the first appearance was very inexpensive. Before your jaw drops, this is the reprint. Let me emphasize, this is the reprint of the very first issue of Shonen Jump. Now, this reprint is usually about $15 or $20. However, for whatever reason, this copy was only $5. So I figured, well, for $5, I'll pick this up. The back, you see, advertisement for, what's that? Tamiya, Tamiya model tanks. And I probably waited too long to pick up this issue of Shonen Jump. I had an opportunity to buy this at less than $50 and did not. So this copy was $85. Yeah, it's a little bit pricey, but I was in a good mood. This is the first appearance of Haikyuu, if you can't tell. And the last box that I will open is the one Mandarake order that I've placed relatively recently. I don't make Mandarake orders all that frequently these days because the cost of international shipping is now so expensive that it's just intimidating. But the items in here. First, the Sophie Mates Cat Reaction Mao Mao from Kusuria no Hitori Goto. Apothecary Diaries is one of my favorite current anime shows. I really love the show. I love Mao Mao's cat reaction. When I saw that there was a figure of it, I said to myself, I have to have one. This one was quite affordable. This was only 1,500 yen. So this was about $10, maybe $10 or $11 before shipping from Mandarake. So this is one that I do expect to take out of the package and display here in my house somewhere. Oh, all right. I'm not sure what these were exactly. They're also a little bit bigger than I expected them to be. But I think these are, yes, these are drink coasters. I don't see merchandise based on Dancing Blade, the PlayStation, then Dreamcast game animated by Actually, now I don't remember. Was it Gonzo or was it Kill Annie? Actually, it might have been Kill Annie. It might have been Kyoto Animation that animated Dancing Blade. But since Dancing Blade merchandise is relatively rare, when I noticed that there were some Dancing Blade coasters available very cheaply, I decided I would pick them up. There's probably the Witch Watch television anime is coming up soon. I think I have one. I might have one. I might have multiple copies of the Shonen Jump with the first appearance of Witch Watch already. But these were 350 yen. So these were like under $3 a copy. So at under $3 a copy for the first appearance of Witch Watch, I picked up a couple more copies. Let's see, what was... also coming up, as of April 2025, the new spring anime TV season is starting. One of the shows that's coming up, I believe it's next season, in the middle of 2025, is, what is it? Again, when you wing it, you kind of forget things. I believe it's a show about two female ninja. I don't think I can read enough of this to tell. Nimpu to Futari Garashi. Something Ninja Futari Garashi. Forgive me for getting the name wrong, but this magazine is the first appearance of the manga. I don't know anything about it. However, this magazine was only 200 yen, so it was like $1.50. So I figured that why not? I'll pick this up just in case I end up liking the forthcoming anime. Am I right? Kagari Bachi? I'm trying to read the... I had an opportunity to buy the Shonen Jump issue, Kagarabachi. Is that Kagarabachi. I had an opportunity to buy this magazine with the first appearance of Kagarabachi for $27, and I waited too long and it sold. Then I noticed the Mandarake had it for $35, so I figured there is an anime coming up. This manga title is very popular. I figured if it catches on and the price starts skyrocketing, I would rather have it I would rather have gotten one when it was affordable, so I decided I would pick up at least one copy, potentially for my personal collection, given the possibility or the probability that I end up liking this anime series. This particular issue of Koro Koro Comics is the manga first appearance of Puniru Kawaii Slime. Sadly, I didn't get around to much of the anime television series. I watched the first episode and thought it was amusing. I intended to watch more of it, and with my work schedule, I just simply didn't have time. However, this first appearance magazine was only $3, so I picked this up for my personal collection. And then I added a selection of doujinshi. Possibly I may have to censor some of these cover illustrations for YouTube. I am not monetized, so I'm not worried about losing zero money, but I am worried about YouTube simply taking the video offline. So forgive me if I have to censor a bit. No, I guess I'm probably safe with... Actually, let me see if I can find the... Where is the... Okay. Alright. This particular doujinshi appeals to my particular tastes. Forgive my censoring. But this is the one that I wanted. But while I was at it, I figured that, well, since I'm buying this volume from the Circle, I might as well also get the other volume from the same Circle. The Chun-Li one was 1,500 yen. I haven't even forgotten her name, was 2,000 yen. And there was a third book here, yes. All right. I'm gonna censor where my fingers are, but from Power Play. This one is also from the same Circle. This one was only 600 yen, so this one was quite inexpensive. So I picked up 3 of these from the same Circle. I believe I picked up 2. Let's see here. I thought it was, yes. Okay. Yeah. I am still striving to collect and complete a full set of Saigato doujinshi. These 2 more recent books were on my need list, so I acquired these. One of the main reasons I ordered doujinshi is because I realized that the artist Bowles had released a Dirty Pair, a relatively recent Dirty Pair doujinshi. So I wanted to pick this up, and while I was picking this up, I decided to throw in a bunch of other doujinshi along with it. I probably can't show too much of this cover. Apologies. Actually, I probably can't show too much of this cover. This is a Busa Rankin book. I just happen to like the cover. I'm not even sure what the interior contents were like, but this was only just slightly over $1. So at that price, I figured I would just experiment with it to see what it's like. I did not expect... I thought that this particular manga would be a little bit smaller in size. This is a doujinshi based on American female comic heroines. I thought the concept was interesting, so I decided I would pick this up blindly just to see what it's like. Provocative cover, but no nudity, so I think I can possibly get away with showing this Street Fighter doujinshi. This was 200 yen. I don't know a lot about this particular doujinshi. It was only about $3. The cover art just simply jumped out at me. It just seemed like it appealed to my tastes. So knowing next to nothing about it, I decided I would experiment by buying this. This is an adult book. This is a hentai doujinshi. This, however, I think is not a hentai doujinshi. I think this is just a straightforward action doujinshi, a fan story based on Masamune Shiro's Black Magic M66. I thought that was an interesting concept. I have not been able to find this in stock from Suruga-ya, so I paid $5 to get it from Mandarake. I don't know pretty much anything about this particular Bubblegum Crisis adult doujinshi from Circle Metal, but it was fairly inexpensive, so I decided this was about $3. I can't show you the entire cover of this Dirty Pair doujinshi. This is a duplicate copy. I do already own one copy of this book. However, this was under $5. I was already buying other doujinshi anyway, so I figured, why not? I'll just pick up a second copy. And this I will also regrettably have to censor. I don't really know much about this doujinshi either. The cover appealed to me. The book was about $5, so I figured, oh, I'll throw it on the order and see if I dig it when it gets there. So that, my dear viewers, if you are still viewing, is the kind of unusual, or hopefully you'll agree that this is unusual, stuff that I've acquired lately. Should you have any questions or comments, feel free to contact me directly. I have, practically speaking, almost no social media presence. I do not have an Instagram. No offense to those who do, but I do not beg for money on Patreon. Now, if you want to send me some extra cash, I will gladly accept it. I'm not too humble, but I'm also not going to beg for your money. I'm just hoping that I can entertain you for a few minutes with these show and tell videos. Now, I will admit I'm probably not super reliable or immediately prompt about replying to email, but if you want to contact me, go ahead. I honestly will do my best to try and send you a response in a reasonably timely manner. So if you're still watching, I hope that you found some enjoyment or entertainment or information out of this video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I will see you again sometime.